Hey, everybody. Welcome to Stay on Target. Live episode number 24. 24.
Oh,
Pulling out some Spanish, It's important.
you got to every once in a while.
Every once in a while, I just
Hey everybody!
yeah.
Welcome to Stay on Target.
It's important, to know your languages. How you doing, Dustin?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I am just doing brilliantly, actually. So
Pulling out some Spanish.
yeah, it's all right. And there's some funny things happening at the moment. I am hearing myself on a delay, and it's cracking me up. So I got to figure out what's going on there. But until then, if you see me going crazy, it's all good.
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I am just
Okay, but you having a good day, Dustin? Yeah, you take it away for a second.
Okay, yeah, I'm having a good day. I'm ready to talk some Star Wars with everybody. Man, this episode was fantastic. I don't want to give anything away, but it took everything. I mean, just to this whole season at least to a whole new level. It's like what you want to see when it comes to Star Wars as a whole, and also just in the Clone Wars as well. It's like best of Clone Wars again. I think it's just going to get better from here, and that's what I'm excited about. I can't wait to watch more. It's exciting. But anyway, I hope everybody else out there is having a good day, staying quarantined. Hopefully, we're nearing the end of quarantine here soon.
Yes.
Let us know in the chat if you're out there and if you're watching, and if you're having a good week. Also, let us know your favorite color lightsaber.
Ooh, good question. Good question. And I figured out that weird audio glitch. So hey, we're good. There's always something,
Nice.
24 episodes in, you think we'd have this down, but it's always it's a moving target, right, Dustin? We're staying on target, but it's moving all over the place. Sometimes we don't get it.
Yep, that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. So we're here. Me and Dustin are here. Nick hopefully will be able to jump in on the chat, and we're working on still trying to get him in, and hopefully he'll be here next week. And this quarantine thing, we have to do it all remotely and all this fun stuff. So it changes up our thing, man. Everybody's lives are changed up just a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely changed things going forward. I know it's probably going to change things for a while too. It's going to take a while to get back in the swing of things, but it will. That's the good thing. It will, and we're going to get back to living our normal lives.
Yeah, that's for sure. One day, very soon, we will be rocking it out.
Yes.
So, and
we
we'll
will
be
together again.
together again in the flesh. But in the meantime, you're sitting in a new studio, and it looks totally different. This cockpit you're in, it looks way different, than the last time we saw you.
Yeah, yeah. I finally was able to move to my new house in Hoth. It's warmer, and I don't know if it's warmer, but it's a better layout. It's just working out really well. I'm excited. I think it looks a lot better. It's a lot more clear, and this cockpit's really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful, actually. Yeah. So way to go. I know you've been working hard. We've been talking about the last few weeks about getting everything ready for your big move and all that. So we are excited for you that you are officially landed. The Eagle has landed. Is that true?
The Eagle has landed. Yeah, which was challenging during the quarantine. But we made it work.
Yeah.
We got through it.
Right. Yeah. Things aren't. Well, they're not as easy as they seem sometimes. And then when you add a couple of layers on top of it that really complicate things, it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like we got some
commenters.
Comments.
All right. Let's jump in and see where we're at. So, question was, what's your favorite lightsaber color? And we're on Facebook. Ariane says purple. Brilliant.
Nice.
Great choice. Great choice. And Zarhimoto also said on YouTube purple. So that's double purple for Zarhimoto. And then Zach Johnson here says, our good friend Zach. He's co-hosting.
Our good friend Zach is back.
Zach is back. Oh, wow. Hey, Zach Johnson, thanks for joining us. But he said favorite lightsaber color? Red. Definitely red.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Good call, Zach. Thanks for tuning back in with us. We missed you, I guess. It's been, or you missed, I don't know. It's been a week. So, was it last Sunday that we did this? Not that the day of the week matters, but
I don't remember what day it was. Man, moving and everything going on, it's been hard for me to keep track.
Every day's Groundhog Day, and then for you've been moving and everything else, so
Yeah, it's still working too, so it's been crazy.
it has been just insane. But it's all
What's
good.
your favorite lightsaber color?
My favorite lightsaber color?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it just depends. I like the beautiful glow of the green.
Yeah.
I like the beautiful glow of the green. But
Really?
I think in our fan films I was blue, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were blue.
Yeah. So I don't know, when I'm making the lightsabers, I was making you one the other day and I still haven't finished it, but I like the look of that green. It just pops. But yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Green is my favorite. Green or white. I think white looks awesome, but green has got to be my favorite. Especially, I mean, as a kid, whenever I saw Luke light up his green lightsaber for the first time, I was just like, yes,
Yeah.
that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And fun fact too, the reason that they made it green was because it was a blue background that he would ignite it, because it was the desert and it was blue sky. So George Lucas was actually originally planning on keeping his lightsaber blue, like that would always be the color. It would be red versus blue.
Okay.
Always.
So Jedi, good guy was blue, bad guy was
Yep.
red forever.
Yeah, but because of where they were at and how they were filming, he's like, the blue's not going to shine. It's not going to go well off of the background. It wouldn't work for them. So he decided, he last minute switched it to green.
Aha.
Which I'm glad they did, because I love the green. I think the green looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a good color.
And it's my favorite color.
And it's your favorite color. Yeah. I think your new place has some green on it even.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So you planned it that way, didn't you? You
No.
planned it that way.
I planned it. It was meant to be.
Yeah, and then we got Zach jumped in and said, actually Carla jumped in and said, I like the red lightsabers. So yeah, red for the dark side, but it's very Christmassy, red and green.
I guess maybe we should have made a point that it doesn't mean you're a Sith if you're red.
True. Yeah.
It could just be your favorite color.
Yeah, we're not going to judge whether you think you're a Sith or a Jedi, colors. Ahsoka, or the white, like you said, is Ahsoka's later on kind of color. And the dark saber is kind of that.
Dark saber's black.
So that's black. That's kind of cool.
With like a white edge.
Yeah, which is pretty neat too.
It's really cool. I really like the dark saber too.
There's not a bad color of a lightsaber, honestly. If you handed me one and it was like it was like that light green color or some weird orangish off, 70s orange or brown, it'd still be cool because it's a lightsaber. And then
exactly.
Zach again said, latest Clone Wars episode was awesome. 10 out of 10. Oh, yeah, Zach, we're going to get into that absolutely here in a few minutes. What do you think, Dustin?
Definitely. Like I was saying, it was fantastic. I only have good things to say about it. I am ecstatic from the very beginning to the very end. I was on the edge of my seat and I just loved every second of it. I can't say much more.
For sure.
I don't want to spoil anything. I'm afraid I'm going to start talking spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anything.
Yep. I agree. We'll talk spoilers here in a few. We got the spoiler alert. Taylor jumped in on Facebook and said purple and white are sweet, or anything Ahsoka wields. Good call.
Yeah, that's a good.
So right now we got 2 votes for red, 2 for purple, and then 1 for green and 1 for blue, and then if
a democracy.
Maybe Taylor counts for white, so we got another one for white there, and you said white, so
that's
I don't know. Red and purple are tied, and so is white. Green and blue are lagging behind.
Said green too, right? There's 2 green.
Yeah, I said green and blue, but I switched it to blue when I found out you wanted green. So
okay,
that's how I do it.
Yeah.
And then Carla said, "Haha, glad to hear you aren't judging me." LOL. So yeah. Oh man. Well, we're excited to have this 24th episode, and we're just ecstatic that we're going to yak about some more Star Wars here. 24 episodes of talking about Star Wars. It started off with The Mandalorian, and it just led into episode 9. Of course, that huge movie that came out around Christmas. We talked about that, and then there was a little lull in January. And then Clone Wars, here we are, episode 9 of Clone Wars already. There's been more episodes of Clone Wars, I think, than The Mandalorian. How many total episodes of Mandalorian were there?
There's only 8.
Yeah, there's only 8. So we're already into uncharted territory with with
Try-
Mandalorian, and
Well, how long? How long are? I thought Clone Wars seasons were pretty long, weren't they?
yeah, they are. They historically, I think they were all at least. I think we said one of them was 12 episodes, but maybe season
Yeah, I
6.
thought so.
But
Yeah.
some of the episodes were hour-long specials, and then Mandalorian, some of the episodes were longer, like 40 minutes and whatever. So it's all different. But yeah, and so here we are, 24. It's 24 episodes, which means basically 24 weeks, 25 weeks. That's about half a year, if you think
Wow.
about it. 26 times 2 is 52, so that's 52 weeks in a year. We've basically hit the half a year mark in the middle of a pandemic. So
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
so we've changed up how the shows have run, and this week we're going to put up a video on our pages showing the progression of the intros of all of our our 24 episodes so far. Historically, 24 episodes is like a season of a standard TV show. You got a halfway is 12 and 12, and so 24. This kind of wraps up season 1 if you wanted to keep track officially. So maybe we'll have some different music next week, but I'll definitely have that highlight video of the 24 episodes, and we've done a lot of crazy fun things. Wouldn't you say, Dustin?
Oh yeah, we have for sure. We still got things to show. I'm excited for people to see more that's coming up.
Absolutely. We've
Oh yeah.
met a lot of great people along the way, and
Oh yeah.
a lot of
Hope to have more on.
what's that?
Hope to have some more on too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then it's always cool with being live, and of course we try to be as consistent as possible on our days and such. But we're flexible. Sometimes we got to be flexible, and so we're here, and it's whatever day it is right now, and we're going to talk about some Star Wars and life.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you want to
For
jump?
people in the future too.
Yeah, and for the people in the future, we're still here,
Still here.
living here
Watch us
forever
anytime.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh man, 24 episodes in, and we miss Nick's humor on episode number 24, but we keep saying that because he's so
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
He's comedy gold. So Zach, you haven't met him yet, and other people that are watching this for the first time, you'll see Nick.
Unless you watch some previous videos.
Unless you
Nick.
went back and binged all 23 other episodes.
Wow. Kudos to you if you did that, man.
That's a lot of hours.
I like his comment too. He's also said, "I would probably be a Sith though, to be honest." LOL. I thought that was pretty good. At least he's honest about it.
At least he's honest about it. That is good. But good question, Dustin. Lightsabers are fun, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was good to see. I don't want to spoil anything, but Clone Wars lightsabers, they're there eventually. And it's always good to see a lightsaber on the screen. And yeah, Carla Hawkins, mentioned that she said that she's glad we're not judging her.
Yeah.
We're not going to label you as a Sith. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, that's the end. All right, see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning, but Dustin, you want to jump in on this episode real quick? Do you have anything else you want to discuss off the top? Any news or anything of the sort?
Star Wars news?
Yeah, any other Star Wars news? I can think of one thing, but maybe I should just say it, but I don't know if you want to lead it.
I honestly, because I've been moving and stuff like that, I haven't really been able to follow a whole bunch. So I'll let you jump into it.
Yeah, so they announced that The Mandalorian is going to be coming out on May the 4th with a behind-the-scenes, like, basically full-on series, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on Disney. They're going to be on Disney Plus, and we are all very excited about that.
Oh yeah, we are super excited for that. I cannot wait. I mean, watching the show is one thing, and then watching this behind the scenes is going to be a whole other thing, and it's just going to give us so much insight into how they filmed it. Yeah. It's going to give us a ton of ideas too. I mean, because we have made some fan films. I mean, not to that budget or quality,
yeah,
but that's going to be awesome to watch. I can't wait.
Absolutely. That's why I always bought the Blu-rays. Disney Plus has changed some things, but that's why I always bought the Blu-rays of the Star Wars movies, all the ones that have come out so far in the new era, because of the behind-the-scenes bonus feature stuff. I just couldn't get enough of that, and you couldn't get that. If you could stream it on Netflix, Netflix doesn't have any behind-the-scenes kind of features, so I was always disappointed about that. So I loved renting or buying the disc so you could watch all the bonus features. But Disney Plus, man, now they're coming out with straight up, a full out Disney Plus bonus feature, just you know what I'm saying, in its own thing. So I don't know if I'm imagining that it'll still be listed under Mandalorian. So you'll go Disney Plus, click on Mandalorian, and under there it'll maybe have extras or something, or maybe they're just gonna have, maybe it's just gonna be the making of, the Clone Wars, or I'm sorry, making of the Mandalorian. I don't know, on its own thing that they're gonna really promote, because it's good
Yeah.
enough. The technology they use, from what we've seen, is groundbreaking. They could do
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole thing just explaining kind of how they got to that point. And I know we've seen some things. They've done some smaller material talking about how they did that. We found a couple of YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah, which is cool. And just a point to that, I think, is another reason they're following in the vein of George Lucas. He was always pushing the envelope whenever it came to new technology for filming and the film industry. And I know that this behind the scenes, which they've already shown us a little bit about, is going to show even more so how they are following more directly in the footsteps of George Lucas, at least when it comes to filming, filmmaking, and the quality and caliber and how he did things, which I think is awesome. I really like that.
100%, yeah, and it's just cool. We talk about and brag about the quality of Filoni and Favreau. I don't know if I ever realized that both of their names start with F, but I did just now. Their last names. So, the things
Filoni and Favreau,
Filoni and Favreau. Yep. So they are
dynamic F duo.
the dynamic duos. Yeah. Okay. Yep. But I found the article is on The Verge. Disney Plus will premiere 8-part Mandalorian docuseries on Star Wars Day. So it's an 8-part kind of serial thing, it sounds like. It'll explore different aspects of the series through a number of interviews with the cast, crew, production team. The series will also include never-before-seen footage from the cutting room floor and roundtable conversations hosted by director and writer-producer Jon Favreau. Favreau described the series as an opportunity for fans of the show to take a look inside and get to see a different perspective and perhaps a greater understanding of how The Mandalorian came together. Okay, we're all in.
We're all in. Sold.
I mean, there's going to be as many people watching that. Anybody that watched The Mandalorian, they wanted the Baby Yoda took the whole world by storm. Everybody's sitting home in a pandemic. Some people are able to come out or have been able to come out, so maybe they're we're not going to watch anything. No, I'm just kidding. But they're still going to tune in. Life is slowly returning back to normal in some places, but this is great timing. It says one of the topics explored will be the special effects and props team, which we can't get enough of.
Yeah, I know.
That brought Mandalorian's creatures to life. That includes the adorable Baby Yoda, or as Disney and Lucasfilm officially refer to him, the child. Baby Yoda was Mandalorian's breakout star, which we all know. And Baby Yoda. What's that?
That was Star Wars breakout character. I mean, honestly, Baby Yoda overshadowed Episode 9 as a whole. Honestly, it took the internet by storm too.
You're right.
I think the only thing about Episode 9 that comes not even close, but somewhat close, is Babu Frick.
You're right. Yeah, Episode 9's Babu Frick was hilarious. He was a good new character. And there was that other like really goofy looking new character who was in the opening I think he was in the opening sequence when they were trying to get off of that planet. Kind of a bigger dude, tentacles kind of thing. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, who's the spy?
Yeah, the spy. Of course, he didn't make it long, so that's why he wasn't it. But when they were doing some marketing and stuff, you thought, well, this guy could be a big, player in the. But he didn't make it very long. Spoilers.
Spoilers. We like to say spoilers after the fact, apparently.
Yeah. Here's the spoiler, and then I'll give you the spoiler warning.
Right. Also, we got a few comments. Zach Johnson said he'll have to binge all of our episodes. I'm assuming he's talking about our episodes. It was a while ago now that we said if he went back and watched them all. Or maybe it was just The Mandalorian or Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then he also says that he's an aspiring director, so he finds the behind the scenes bonus features really interesting no matter what movie or series it is, which we can appreciate that too.
Oh yeah. That's really cool, Zach. Yeah, aspiring director. Yeah. So I think we kind of consider ourselves that as well, whatever we are, creative people.
Yeah.
One of the side effects of being creative and making a fan film is you have to direct it, kind of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
I'm sure, Zach, you do probably a better job than us, but we
We'll have
together.
to hire Zach in the future.
Yeah, we'll hire Zach as the director of the next fan film. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, the behind the scenes, the bonus features. I mean, that stuff's brilliant. It's so cool to see.
Oh
They're
yeah.
just a bunch of humans putting all their heads together, solving problems on the set, solving problems in post.
Yeah.
The best laid plans. You think these people, that have made, dozens of films and have millions of dollars to work with, they still have simple issues, things that,
Yeah.
weather related and things that slow them down. And, unfortunately, the pandemic is affecting all of the Hollywood and all the production stuff right now, all these movies on hiatus. And hopefully it doesn't delay The Mandalorian. That's the only thing I'm hoping doesn't delay The Mandalorian
I know.
season 2. And I don't think I've heard anything as such. But
I mean, it could, but yeah, it's hard to say.
I know they wrapped it up earlier in the year before all this stuff happened, because we talked about it on our show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of non-eventful. We're like, oh yeah, they're done filming. We're so excited to see it. But now it's more means more now, because if they were still filming, we definitely would be delayed.
We'd be in trouble. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're working on post stuff now, which I would assume they could do a lot of that from home as it is, especially with computers, if they all got computers and stuff like that at home. I mean, it might not be up to their specs might not be the same at home versus at work and stuff like that, and being able to share. But with technology nowadays, I mean, you can do so much from home. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. And there's, they can communicate. And I'm sure, I think the way they have it set up now is, it's not like Favreau's there in the room all the time, making every decision. He just meets once a week or once every other day, or, especially in the post process, they get all the visual effects done, and they get all the audio dubbed in and sound effects, and, they are cutting it together. So in the edit room, I imagine he has to be in there with them to do that sort of stuff. And
yeah, I mean, he has to approve everything. He's got to give approval and give direction on to where they should be doing, what they should be doing, what he likes more of, what he likes less of. There's so many decisions that have to be made. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's slowing down the process because they're not in the same building. They're not working together. As far as we know.
But I mean, I couldn't imagine if you're told you have this deadline, and now you're already pushing it because you want it to be as great as you can. We know what that's like. We've always had deadlines when we made our fan films, and except for the last one, which we took way too long on. But
right. Well, one of the
because
things came to play there. We switched and made a different video while we were doing that one.
That's true. We could have finished it, some version of it, but we didn't know what we were doing. So you're right. We switched up halfway, and that was the end of it. But yeah, I can't imagine with all the turmoil and stuff. But hopefully they get it finished up, and we can check it out. And I mean, I'm excited. So.
And we're excited for the new series coming out. That'll at least give us our fix. And maybe they decide to release it because it might be delayed. Who knows? But we're excited about the making of, which is going to be fantastic. That's going to be awesome to watch. I can't wait.
Going to be brilliant. Yeah. It's a great show. So, hey, yeah, you guys, we got a comment here on Facebook. Hey, we got a comment from our good friend Matt Rosenberg. Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? So, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You remember Matt, Dustin?
Oh yeah, I remember Matt.
He lives on Hoth as well.
He lives on Hoth as well. Yes.
Yes. Well,
tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, happy to see your text. See your name there. Can't see you, but
and for everybody else who's joined, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
You got any questions or comments? Let us know. We'd love to talk to you about Star Wars or anything else. This is also all things.
Yes. I don't know if we said the line. It's a show.
You say that? You gotta say the tag.
Yeah, it's a show about all things, mostly Star Wars things. So hey, that's what we do. We talk about life. We talk about Star Wars. We talk about pandemics and how pandemics affect Star Wars shows.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It all comes together. Somehow it works.
Yeah, but I'm sure a lot of the non-Star Wars fans, they tune in and they're like, oh, they're such nerds talking about Star Wars. I'm out.
Nerds, I'm out. Yeah, right. I know, probably.
But
we go pretty deep sometimes too.
Yeah, we go pretty deep, and we wait a few minutes at the beginning and just kind of banter back and forth. And when Nick's here, it's quite funny. Between you and Nick especially, I just sit back and watch, kind of like entertainment. And I usually am messing around with all the settings and all this stuff, and Nick and Dustin are doing funny stuff, dancing around and creating hilarious moments that we
Yeah.
repost later.
If you haven't seen an episode of Nick, go back and watch some of our earlier episodes with Nick and the three of us from whenever pre-pandemic. So we were all
We're all in the same room, yeah.
Stuff.
And the way the camera is that we use, it's we usually all have to sit pretty close together because we do have a green screen. We started using that in the new year, and so we all kind of have to compact nice and close so that we can all be within the edges, the boundaries of the green screen and the camera lens. So it's kind of funny. So we all are usually pretty close, and now we're about as far apart as we can be. So hey, maybe it's for the better. I don't know. We don't have to have we can have bad breath and not know it.
You can't smell me.
Yeah.
I haven't showered in weeks. No, I'm joking.
I haven't showered in weeks. Yeah, I think I at least comb my hair for this. Well, you're wearing a hat, so
I just wear a hat because I wouldn't be able to get a haircut, so I look like a crazy wild man if I do wear a hat.
Yeah, I put the headphones on, so it keeps everything in line, especially with the lack of hair cutting, lately. So
yeah,
everything's getting a little long.
Right, I know everybody's gonna come out of this pandemic either buzzing their heads. I got a guy at work who did that, and then
Really?
yeah, I didn't recognize him at first, but yeah, I buzzed his head. I thought about that. I was like, man, maybe I should just buzz my head. Might be less to deal with through all this.
Yeah.
So either people are gonna come out with like buzzed heads or like long hair. Everybody's gonna have like
new
the
long
pandemic
hairstyles.
Yeah,
and the poor hairstylists and hair cutting people are just gonna be over. I mean, I know they're already. What's that?
They're gonna be swamped whenever this is all over.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask Nick about it because the show started episode 1. Nick had quite the mane going on, facial hair, long hair, and then by episode 2 he had his annual haircut or semi-annual. I'm not sure his exact process, but
probably getting pretty long again now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying now. But Nick doesn't worry about it. He cuts his own hair. So we could get the Nick special if we could get together.
We should do it live on air.
The live Nick hair cutting special. That would be funny. Actually, that would be hilarious to do that live.
Yeah, we'll see.
Donate it somewhere, Locks of Love or one of those places. So
right.
Yeah, Matt jumped off Facebook and said, "Yeah, cool for life if you dig Star Wars, bro. Love, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah. You can't go wrong. We dig really deep into it, and we're definitely gonna dig deep into this Clone Wars episode. And we're big fans of Disney Plus and the things that they're doing. I mean, with the Star Wars content, of course. And yeah, like I said, I was rewatching some of the other Mandalorian episodes, and they're so good. They're fun to watch. The music, you pick up on things the second time you watch through, and the music and the sound effects are so cool. That's why I'm so excited about this behind the scenes thing.
Yeah. I'd say if you haven't watched the other seasons of Clone Wars, go back and watch it. There's so many good storylines, and that really add to Star Wars as a whole. I mean, one of the biggest things I'd say is you get the Anakin that we always wanted in Clone Wars. And I think especially kind of transitioning to this episode, I don't want to go into spoilers, but you also get that in this episode specifically. There's some epicness right off the bat. So
100%.
Yeah, definitely watch all Star Wars content that you can, because it's always going to be good for the most part.
It's always going to be good for the most part.
For the most part.
Yes.
As I was saying it, and I thought about a few things I don't completely love about Star Wars' release.
Yeah.
So I transitioned there at the end.
Yeah, and then Zach Johnson jumped in. He said deadlines are good for removing any procrastination, but other than that, they're just annoying. LOL. Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
They are annoying.
Very true.
Once you realize what you want to do and what it takes to achieve it, you're almost always under the gun, because you could always tweak it and make it a little better. And sometimes, it's good to give yourself that, all right, that's it, let it go. Eventually you have to, because there's always something you could make better, re-record, redo this, redo that. And then he said, I'm just going to grow out my hair like Kylo Ren's since barber shops are closed. So
do it.
Do it. Kylo Ren. Yeah, he's got some good mane. When he pulled off that helmet in episode 7, everybody made fun of him, but his hair was luscious, it was all perfectly coiffed.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Oh, man. And then Matt jumped in on Facebook, said, no Frizzy Adams for sure. The one clone crew is the best. Frizzy.
Oh, from probably the beginning, the Bad Batch.
Oh yeah. Yep. One clone. Yep. And then Carla said, "I don't think Dustin should buzz his head."
Okay, that sounds good. I probably won't.
We'll see what your wife says about that because
Yeah,
she might not want you to.
yeah, probably not.
Matt probably remembers, and people, I had super long hair before we did our fan films, and it was long. I was looking up pictures from like 2010, a decade ago, and it was long, like shoulder length long, and I'm like, wow, I had long hair back then, didn't I? So
Yeah, your hair almost as long as Nick's in the first episode of the show.
yeah, it was impressive. So maybe I'll go back to Fabio and this. No, not really.
You got the lion's mane
There's
again.
there's that weird like transition period where you're like, it's not long enough,
That's the word.
and it's just you got to live in that for quite a while, or have some solution like you always wear a hat, or you know. So, but yeah, it's okay. I don't typically wear a lot of
Stay
hats.
on target hair talk.
Yes, stay on target hair talk. we need to have get a barber, a proper barber, a proper hairstylist person on here.
Yeah.
Hair cutter.
Dissect the hairstyles of Star Wars and give us pointers.
Yeah. How to achieve that? Yeah. Well, I mean, you did the man bun. I mean, on our episodes, that's pretty modern, pretty hip stuff. So.
Well, it was more. I felt like it went more with Star Wars for what we were going with. There's kind of that samurai-esque thing going on, so I kind of did it more like that because the younglings or not younglings and or the apprentices.
Yeah.
They kind of always have interesting hairstyles, almost like mullet-esque sometimes when they have the one that strand that comes down to signify that they're still learning and training. So
yep. Yeah, Obi-Wan you're referring to Obi-Wan specifically. He was in the.
Yeah, and Anakin had that as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting, and even the other thing I like about I watched I think it was the documentary for episode 2, I think episode 1 or 2 about the making of the behind the scenes, and George Lucas said he said that it just needs to be slightly different. You don't need to go so far off the beaten path, and that's what I really liked about his approach to a lot of things, even in the sci-fi world. You don't want to make it. You don't always have to make it so ridiculous. Like he just added the one hair strand thing coming down. That was the slightly different, just to signify certain things. It wasn't like they had to have complete mullets or they had to do something. Which mullets are kind of making a comeback right now, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah, so I thought that was good. I forget which documentary that one is, but it was a good one. And I like how he said it, and we kind of take that approach to a lot of our fan films. We go different enough to kind of show that it's different in a different world.
Yeah.
But we still kind of try to ground it as much as we can.
Yeah. And so I should pull up. It's funny because for a long time when we made the fan film, it's just real. But I got my hair cut basically kind of for the fan film to do something different, and then I actually always would bring us. She'd be like, "Well, what do you want to do for your haircut?" And I'm like, I would bring in a picture, a screenshot of the fan film. I'm like, I want it to look like this. They're like, I want to see what it look. What kind of. They always ask you, what are you going for? You bring in a reference picture or something. I'm like this guy. This guy's cool. So. There's some real life stuff for you.
Zach's gonna bring in.
He's gonna bring in Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. This guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Matt's suggesting a barber. I think on Facebook. He said Chad at Hair Code Dude, or I think that may be a place. I don't know who you're talking about exactly, but it must be a place. You have to elaborate, Matt, but that's funny. And then his wife said no. So. I think he might be trying to be humorous, but maybe not.
Maybe for buzzing his hair too. He might have thought about buzzing.
There you go. Yeah, Matt's gonna buzz his hair. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Matt, you got some pretty curly locks. I think, yeah. But anyway, Matt also asked, did you guys make your own lightsabers or buy? And we did a combination. You want to go for it, Dustin?
You want to go for yours or?
I'll go for it. I can put if
Okay.
I'll put you on the screen and I'll grab a hilt and we'll show them.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so with our first episode, we both, it was kind of both. What Dan said, we made the one that Dan's using in his. He made that all on his own. The thing that went with it though was we bought a carbon fiber Kevlar weave rod, so it's super strong and doesn't break over time and doesn't bend as much, and it had an orange coating over it, super fluorescent orange, so we could track it. Dan's going to show you an image here in a little bit of what we got, and then the one, well, I guess for the first one we completely made all of ours, but the rods that we used we did purchase online specifically from I think a guy named Ryan Weaver. He's fantastic in the Star Wars community, especially when it comes to fan films, lightsaber fan films. But then the second and third one we bought our own saber hilts from a place online called Saber Forge. We just bought it was aluminum CNC, I believe, made. It was a complete aluminum, so they were really solid and they're really durable, and they fit well with our the rods that we had, and then it just looked really nice. Didn't have any electronics, although one day we will have some epic looking lightsabers that will light up, and it'll be amazing.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yes, we bought some, but we also made a lot of our own, and also the extendable one that I use in mine. I made that with the help of my father-in-law. We welded on a piece. It's actually a baton. It's a police baton.
I've
really
got those
long
here
police
for example. They can see it as you're saying it.
Yeah. So I made that one. We welded on a piece of metal to both ends.
Yeah. So here's the.
And that's
Yep. As you're describing it, this is the police
yeah.
baton that extends. So.
Yeah. So, and I like to
Get it
call
on
it my
the
extendable light pike. Goes out a little bit farther. It's gotten kind of abused over the years, and I don't know
there
if
you
it
go.
goes
Yeah, yeah.
completely. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't get it on the.
And then that way, yeah.
This thing
And then
hurts.
so then I put the lightsaber out the other end, and then I like to say that the material is made out of a lightsaber resistant material, so you couldn't cut through it. That's why sometimes I'd use it as kind of a double sided, but not actually lightsaber on the other side. So it was my extendable light pike, and it's practical. It actually works. You can extend it, put it back in, and fight, which I think is probably one of the best ways to use a weapon, because then you got the reach, and you can still get up close if you're in tight quarters, and demonstrate that in some of our films.
Yep, and
so,
then
yeah,
this is the carbon fiber rod that we actually used for the blade. So this thing coming at you, it's got tape on it. It came with this wrap on it, but the first fan film we did it, and we actually filmed like day one in the rain, and so we're like, oh, it's not waterproof. So what we did when we rotored it, we kind of gave ourselves this pink and orange duct tape. Actually, the orange is the original. I think we went over some of it. Some of it's original. But anyway, then doesn't fit this little end on it. That's weird. And so we could fit that into the lightsaber, but this actually fits in the end of Dustin's his hilt here for his extendable light pike, so anyway, you can't see it on the camera, but it extends and it's humongous. It's like 10 feet long by the time you get it all almost.
It's pretty long. You see it in the film.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of leverage. Do you have the other lightsaber
and then,
there?
So for the first one, for the first one, I homemade this one out of old flashlight bits and stuff. So a little red button, and then I was able to slide this same piece with some PVC. Let's see if I can get this. And then it slid just in here, just so, and would lock in good enough. Actually, better than this because I had it adjusted a little differently. Anyway,
and we didn't have the aluminum piece there. That's on the end of the.
That was when we got the new ones, right?
Yeah.
So we actually slid the pole in, and then down here there's a little hole, and I would put a little set screw in there and lock it in. So this wasn't that. I mean, we would hit a couple of times, and it would start feeling loose, and you could hear it rattling, and it was a little nerve-wracking.
So, yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking.
And we did get some injuries, but then Dustin spent some dough and got some proper hilts. And these are the ones you're talking about from Saber Forge, I think.
Yeah, that's from Saber Forge. That's just the hilt itself without anything in it.
Yeah, and so
they're super strong, super durable.
Yeah, and so then that piece that you made fits, it slides perfectly down in there.
Yep, and then we can
again,
just
a
tighten.
little set screw,
There's
which
a
is
set screw.
it's tightened at the moment, so I'd have to loosen that and then slide it all the way in, and then here we are with a perfect lightsaber ready to go. And then when you're done, you can take it off, and it came with this little clip so you could hook it onto the side and hook it onto your belt or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then Dustin's the last one here is Dustin's actual fully assembled one that he used, and I think Tom used it in the the final, like as the Sith guy.
Yeah, so that was the one that Tom
This
used.
was the bad one,
as
right?
Yeah, that was the bad guy one, and then I used the extendable light pike in the last one. But in the second one, I used that one for my saber as the bad guy in episode 2.
Yeah,
The
that's what I
second
thought.
Phantom elimination.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, that's some of our props. Let us know if you guys want to know more about our props. We'd be happy to share some more. I got the shield too, which is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And it worked out for us. We got the helmet. We got lots of stuff, So it's cool. It's fun stuff.
The
And if you
pauldrons, the van braces, all the armor, the clothes.
yeah.
That's the fun stuff that we love to dig into, and especially you, Dustin. I mean, you definitely
love
figure that out. And then at some point, we're
Yeah.
like, well, we got to pull the trigger on something. Let's do this thing. So
Yeah. If I could get like totally custom made armor, I would totally do that. But our budget doesn't always allow for
yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah. Hopefully, in the next one, when we get our proper funding, maybe we can do it. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I
man.
could make it look so Star Wars. You
20,
wouldn't even know.
10 mil an episode.
Oh man, if I had $10 million an episode, wow, I could do a lot. Although sometimes they say more money, more problems. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I,
We don't know
but
that.
I could definitely do a lot with a decent budget when it comes to making it look Star Wars and being Star Wars.
More money, more problems. We wouldn't know what that is.
Right.
Just kidding. We're all good. We got enough money to pay for this computer that we're using. That's all good. I'm going to shut up now. And then Zach Johnson
if you
said,
want to donate, there's a
there's
link
a ton.
below.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's true. It's true. No, but there's Zach Johnson jumped in on YouTube. He said that hilt looks awesome. So I'm assuming he's talking about this one because this is the one that I use. So it's definitely the coolest one,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we picked our designs. I mean, you basically picked them, but yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
picked them
it.
together.
think-
And I picked a lot of them actually for practicality. They have those spots on the hilts where you can grip it a little bit better.
Yep.
So that's why I actually really like the design because it didn't have a lot of extra stuff on it. And whenever you're actually fighting, even the props in the movies, they cut a lot of that stuff so you have a good handhold because they have like the hero props which are to look good.
Yeah, it feels nice in the hand. Yeah.
But then they also have the hilts that you actually duel with. So I like these hilts because they were practical, they were streamlined, and they were strong, and they still looked awesome as far as hilts. And we couldn't make anything like that.
Yeah, it's pro, and those blades, they hurt. They definitely hurt.
Oh yeah, yeah, you can testify that. I don't know how I got through.
I think you got nicked once or twice, but I just think it proves like the accuracy when I swing. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Sets you up
Maybe
for that
we
one.
just put you in harm's way more than me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was more of you knew the moves much better. I think is part of it, and then we're supposed to go up and I go down, and it's my fault because I was supposed to go up or whatever. So,
well, it's tough. Well, that was mostly the first one. I think we got a
Yeah.
lot better after that. I don't think we really had
No.
too many other issues. We were still figuring out a lot of it as we were going with the first one.
I mean,
so,
considering in preservation, there's all three of us really tied in on each other.
yeah,
We
it's
practiced
way
that.
faster than the first one.
Yeah, we practiced that a lot, and of course, it was all different when we were on that downhill kind of slanted angle. But anyway,
Yeah, there was so much crazy.
there was.
Although I did roll down that hill a few times and smack my head against that tree a few times, so I didn't get hit with lightsabers, but I got hurt somehow.
Yeah. Matt said on Facebook, you guys will have to come by the shop and watch it on the big screen. We'll have to check it out, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Check out some with some legit sound and on a big screen. Heck yeah. We're I watched the episode, the last Clone Wars episode today again on the nice TV, and it was glorious with all the loud sound. Oh man, I love it.
Oh yeah.
The girl that, if you watch the Clone Wars download, she talks about some of the sound design, and I love watching that. Even though it's only like a minute long, I could watch hours of this how they do their sound design at Lucasfilm. And she takes, I guess their library is anything that Ben Burt has ever done, and
Wow.
Holy
cow.
anything from Star Wars clone animated and film, and so I'm like, wow, that's quite an impressive. Just search for lightsaber sounds, and you get there.
Yeah,
You
can
go.
you imagine having that at your fingertips? Like,
Yeah.
oh, the power.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it would be so fun just to sit there and listen. And I imagine as you deal with them long enough, you have templates built up, and things, and then you can just tweak them to change, make them a little different, add a little thing here and there. That's kind of sounds like more what she did, because Clone Wars already had its own kind of soundscape and whatever. But she's
Yeah.
creating new sounds and making them better, and it's pretty cool.
Well, and I noticed, and we noticed a lot more even with this episode too. There was some sound in here specifically that
Yeah,
came from places, which is cool, which we're gonna get into for
yeah,
sure.
it is. Well, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, man, let's do this.
All right, let's
I can't
do
wait
it.
to talk about it. I
Yeah.
wish we could all watch it together again.
I do too. Maybe we'll have to do that, because this episode is what this whole season of Clone Wars has been building up to. So if you haven't seen Clone Wars season 7 yet, which is the one we're watching now, please go watch it. It's worth it, man, or women,
Yeah.
so whoever you are. It's awesome.
And aliens.
And aliens. Yeah.
Zabraks.
Zabraks. I never liked you anyway, Zabrak. Yeah.
I like how we're quoting our own.
Oh man, this is
Wow.
we're
Okay.
just in it deep. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but
Nerd.
it's been awesome building up. The first 8 episodes have been great. We were maybe saying 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And like Zach said early on, this one's probably about up 10 out of 10. And I have a feeling
yeah.
the next couple are going to be around 10 or 11 out of 10.
Yeah, this is 10 or 11 out of 10. This is what you want. This is amazing. What did you think? I kind of said what I thought in the beginning a little bit. I'll let you talk a little bit more about this episode. Non-spoilers, and then we're going to go into spoilers.
Yeah, okay, so non-spoiler, I've really liked a lot of the callbacks that they did without saying what they are to other films, to other moments of certain films. And I had to watch some of the Easter eggs because I didn't pick up on all of them. There's so many things that happen in this.
So many.
It's worth
It's
watching.
crazy.
It's worth watching repeatedly.
Yes.
But yeah, I love the action. Tons of great action in this one, and the heaviness of this episode. Is kind of what Clone Wars, those big arcs that we've talked about before in other seasons. The heaviness of the arcs, it's leading in. This is, I think we can say this is kind of like a part 1 of, without spoiling anything, of the rest of this season. And so the way it sets it up is really heavy. There's some darkness. There's a little bit of lightheartedness, but it's pretty serious most of the episode.
Yeah.
And some epic moments. So many epic moments. So
Oh,
that's about as generic as I can be. It's epic. It's
Right.
great. Lots of action. We love it. But it's true. It's true. It had everything that Clone Wars, we've known Clone Wars to be in other seasons. So it felt like a film, felt like a movie just at the beginning. It set the stage with the opening title and the differences there. It's just like, whoa, what are they doing? It got my attention right at the beginning. And I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it was different but similar. So it just like put me into a mode like this is going to be epic, or I'm just like, I'm ready to watch this full-length feature.
Yep.
That's what I put my hand into. Like, I'm about to watch an epic full-length Star Wars feature.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I got the I've watched most of the other ones by myself down in the studio, which is great on my, nice 27-inch iMac or whatever. But today I went up and watched it on the 60-inch, with the surround sound or whatever, and cranked it up because I wanted to, like Mandalorian, when we watched the Mandalorians. We watched some of them down here too, but we wanted to watch them on the big screen with some loud sound and, feel the hits. And so I wanted to watch this one. Yeah, the full effect. And so this one was in full effect right at the beginning. And Zach said right at the beginning, I think we could talk about it. I don't know if you want to spoil, but that original Lucasfilm logo.
Yeah, I don't think that's much of a spoiler in the beginning.
And it's funny because I don't know if you had the same experience that I had, Zach or Dustin. or Matt if you watched it. But it gave you the option to skip the intro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
like right at the beginning, I was like, no, I'm not skipping the
Yeah.
intro. Like it's
I
different.
know.
The intro is different enough where I want to see every second of this. It's just, I thought that moment was kind of funny.
I had that same thought. I was like, why are you telling? How do I get rid of the skip button on the screen? I want that to go away. I don't want to skip. I want to see all of this.
Exactly. They should have taken that away almost. I mean, I
Yeah,
get
that
it.
would have been awesome.
I get it because Mandalorian did that, and after a while, that little 10-second, which I think it looks slick. The one they do for Mandalorian is so cool looking. So I never skipped that one either.
Yeah,
But
neither do I.
it just sounds cool. It looks cool. It's awesome. It's encompassing all of the Star Wars, brands or whatever. But anyway, this one, I thought that was funny. That's funny that you had the same experience.
Yeah. And with the Clone Wars, it doesn't really make a bunch of sense for you to skip the intro because it kind of sets up the mood and also sets up. They're not very long. First of all, it's not like it's the same
literally
title thing.
Less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, and it sets up the episode and what came before.
Yeah.
So if you skip all that, go straight to the episode, you're kind of missing some of the show, honestly.
Yep.
For Clone Wars, anyway, it doesn't really make a bunch of sense. But I see why they do it, though. If you already have seen it and you want to skip to the thing, a lot of shows will actually have like a opening song type credits and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll skip that if I've already seen it, 10 times. So, but with this, it doesn't make sense. Just might as well watch through it, and it sets it up even better.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth watching. So that's funny that you had that experience, and we had another comment here online. So we're trying to get to all these people that comment live with us. So
Yes.
we're kind of talking to each other, and we like to. That's why we like doing it live, because we like interacting with you people. That took 5 minutes to jump in, or maybe you hang out with us the whole time. So Zach said on YouTube, the best part of the new episode was the original Lucasfilm logo, which they do, which you got to check out. And then, which is just interesting that they did that right there. And then he said again, I can't wait to rewatch 1 to 3 at the same time once they're all out, because this is going to be a multi-parter, almost like its own movie.
Exactly.
You can tell when they put this together, they put a lot of time. And we were talking about that. We're like, I'm sure they're saving a lot for the last couple of episodes, because the siege of Mandalore is going to be nuts, and it has delivered craziness already. And yeah, Zach, man, right there with you. I wish we could watch it live, but we'd get kicked off and stuff. So Kim on Facebook said no to Dustin, I think, cutting his hair. Yeah, buzzing his hair off. Yeah, man.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Oh, and Matt said he had a 200-inch projector, a 200-inch screen projector. That's huge.
Wow, that is huge.
That's massive.
That's wow.
And I imagine it's got some killer sound to go with it. Yeah. So maybe we'll screen. Maybe when we edit our next film, we'll go there with the 200-incher, and we'll do our edits on that.
Is that like a theater size?
That sounds pretty close.
I don't know what the size of a theater is one.
Yeah.
Oh man, back in the days where we could go to the theater.
Yeah, back in the day when theaters were easily accessible, we took them for granted.
Right, Matt doesn't even need that. He's got one at home.
Yep.
He's got his own theater.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Oh man, it's a crazy time we're living in, but yeah, that sounds good, Matt. That sounds good, Kim.
Yeah.
I don't think Dustin's cutting his hair that short, but you never know. You never know.
Well, I mean, I do it for a film,
Yeah.
That's typically when I cut my hair different, is whenever we're doing a film that matches it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You too, I guess.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, since I got it short, I kept it short because it's gotten longer. I've got pictures of it getting longer, and then it just gets to that point where it's just annoying, and it's usually the middle of summer when it's 1,000 degrees, and you know, I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me either way. But when it starts taking longer to make look okay and not look like you just woke up. You're like, I promise I didn't just wake up. I promise I took a shower today. And your hair's like all over the place. I'm like, forget it. I'm chopping it.
I know, right? That's the nice thing about having it shorter, unless you got time to do it or whatever. But nice. Looks like we got some more questions or more comments too. I love these comments rolling in.
Yeah, thanks for all the chatter out there. The chatter out there.
The chatter.
The score gave me chills. Zach Johnson on YouTube. It honestly sounded like John Williams music.
I 100%
There was a
Really.
lot of John Williams borrowed music in this one.
Yes, there was. I don't.
No,
We
no
gotta go into
spoilers.
spoilers here.
No, but I'm just saying there were some moments that I'm like, man, that's a callback, and listen to that, and
Yes.
I didn't even know all of it as it was happening. I watched a little thing on the Easter eggs, like you said, Dustin, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. But and then he said, do you think the next episodes? I don't know if that's kind of spoilery,
Yeah,
so
maybe we won't.
maybe we'll wait on that one. Zach, you want to jump in?
You want to get into spoilers?
Let's do it.
You just
We've
want to
been
jump
we've been
into
talking about an hour, so let's do it. It's time.
it? Yeah.
All right, I'm bringing up the spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen episode 9 and you don't want to be spoiled, there's your spoiler alert. And
Spoiler alert, people.
you have been warned, and consider yourself warned. So, yep,
And warned again.
100%. Yeah. So anyway, go for it, Dustin. We're talking about Zach mentioned.
Oh,
Do you think the next episodes will show Rex taking his inhibitor chip out of his head?
that is a really good question. I was thinking that at the end of that, when the episode was over, I was like, man, there's so many things that still need to happen to set up things in the future. I was like, that's a big one. I was like, yeah, when is he going to take out his inhibitor chip? There's so even with that question, we have to talk about like 10 other things even before we can get to that almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they have to show that, especially because they address it in Rebels. They have to show that he takes it out. But because this is lining up, I mean, we're almost exactly to the point of Order 66. It's setting up Order 66 right now. We're in.
Yep.
This is right before and even during Episode 3 of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So it's crazy. I know that is a big question though. I can't wait because it's him. It's Rex. It's also Commander Wolf, I believe it is, and also the Bad Batch guy. Oh shoot, I just lost his name. Fact checker.
Echo.
Echo. Yeah, Echo.
Yeah.
Yep. I believe it's the 3 of them.
What
At
was
least
her
that's
name?
who.
It was Gone with a Trace. What was her name? Oh, Trace. It's like,
Yeah.
a distant echo. What's the name of the
Yeah,
character?
we did that
Echo.
one last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah.
episode didn't give us any nuggets. Old friends, not forgotten. But there's that guy named Forgotten. Remember him? You forgot him? No, I'm just kidding. There's not a guy named Forgotten. They're
Dad jokes.
Right on the nose. Dad jokes. Boo. All right.
So, let's just jump into the beginning of this because I want to start at the beginning because there was so much.
Yeah.
It was so good right at the beginning. With the opening, it was the classic Lucasfilm opening, which was so cool to see. Man, that took me back. Like right away, I was like, "This is what?" It caught me by surprise and totally changed my mindset. Like I was like, "I'm not watching Clone Wars. I'm watching Star Wars, like a movie."
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
Do you
Yeah.
feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a cinematic. It was right at the beginning. You're like, it's a movie. Yep, bring it on. So
Yeah.
it was epic right at the beginning, and the music and the fanfare and
Yeah, 'cause
everything.
you got the fanfare.
Yeah.
It wasn't a normal Clone Wars intro,
No.
and that just set it up totally different. Like this almost made me think like this is like Clone Wars the movie like 2.
Yeah.
in some ways.
Exactly. And I don't know if it was just my imagination, but maybe it's just because I watched it on the bigger TV. But it seemed like everything was even that much crisper. But it could have just been the TV situation. But
Yeah.
it seemed like the animation and all the colors and everything was that much brighter, that much more depth to it. I don't know, like they render. I don't know what it was, but they put more time into that crafting the look of that maybe to make it more film-esque. I don't know.
Yeah, the detail. I even like one of the things I noticed was kind of goofy. Was I noticed like Anakin's hair was like bouncing like a little bit more. I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't notice that before.
And
go
ahead.
One of the things the theories I have about that, I don't know if it's true, but because they originally were making these episodes, I don't think they ever got to actually making this. I don't think they didn't put this arc up on the website as the unfinished ones. So my question is, did they ever actually get to making these? Is this all new as far as this final season goes? When they decided to do the final season, they're like, okay, we got to do Siege of Mandalore. We didn't get to do that.
Yep.
But it's all fresh. They didn't record anything for it yet. Like at least with the other ones, they already had some stuff already done that you can even see comparisons on. But with this one, I think it's brand new, and they were able to develop it, with newer technology, with all they've learned to make it look that much more crisp.
Yeah.
And give it just that better Star Wars like movie quality. I think that's a theory I have anyway, that they never got to this one, so this is all new.
Okay. That makes sense. I would believe that. Yeah. Because it's tight. It's amazing. Yeah.
It looks it looks
It
fantastic.
looks good. Even the look of Obi-Wan, like he
Mhm.
looks a little more aged, kind of more like he did in episode 3. And
They gave him, I think, a little bit of gray in the side too.
yeah, he looks a little more just a little older, a little more, seasoned, and but still cool. It's just interesting. It's the most, I don't know,
Yeah,
lifelike. I don't know. He looked less less square, I guess. Maybe he had more
yeah.
definition.
All of them looked a
Yeah.
little bit more like realistic, and like I even said, with the hair
Yep.
and for Anakin, like bounce, I was like, what? I don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
seeing that in Clone Wars. Like usually it's pretty blocky, and it stays. Everything
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yep.
But in
Exactly.
this one, I noticed that was just kind of funny. I don't know why. But then maybe it was the Kylo Ren-esque hair
Could
that
have been.
really got.
They wanted to match that. Yeah. Zach did say
Yeah,
before we go too far. Do you think
yeah.
the next episode? Okay, the inhibitor chip. I hope it shows Order 66 happening in Rex's or Ahsoka's perspective rather than just leading up to Episode 3. So
Yeah.
as we said, we're kind of in Episode 3, right? We're basically right on knocking on the door. You
So
clarify that.
yeah. We'll kind of get
Okay. Yeah, we'll
there.
get there. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll get there. But I want to go back to the beginning though, just so we don't jump around too much. But right off the bat, I mean, we start off and they're basically ending a battle, or they're in the middle of a battle, which is really cool to see Obi-Wan basically save Commander Cody's life right off the bat. And they're kind of getting hammered. I mean, Commander Cody, along with Obi-Wan, fighting these droids on a bridge. And in that video that we talked about with the Easter eggs, I didn't notice it right out of the bat, but it's like a suspension bridge, kind of like the Golden Gate Bridge where Lucasfilm is located.
Yep.
They're not exactly there, obviously. They're not doing that on the bridge, but
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
thought that
Right.
was interesting. There's so many similarities in this scene, but then Anakin shows up and he's just like a total boss about everything. I mean, Obi-Wan and Commander Cody are sitting behind, like hiding behind a rock, taking cover,
Yeah.
and Anakin just walks up and he's just standing there, like no big deal. That's what I'm saying. Like Anakin was like a boss in the beginning of this. He was just awesome.
Oh
And then
man, it was so
kind of
cool.
taunting. He's kind of taunting Obi-Wan in some ways. He's like, "You can just keep hiding behind this rock, or we can win this."
Yep.
And then he just steps out and just starts walking by himself straight at all of the things. I mean, not even really flinching or moving.
But
Like,
before that, when he was talking to Obi-Wan,
yeah,
he noticed that. He's like, "What are you doing hiding behind there?" He's like, "We finished our battle. We're coming here to
yeah,
help you out." And then he's like, "Well, get down." And so it's like he would do this dodge thing. Did you remember seeing
yeah,
that?
yeah. You're right.
And the bullets would go whizzing past, and he was just like, "Whatever." He's like, "Are you serious right
Yeah,
now? You guys are even like hiding, mostly to
yeah,
Obi-Wan." But
yeah.
even that was kind of like, wow. He's like, he is so sure of himself right now.
Yeah, which I think ties well even into episode 3. He's
Yep.
gotten to a point where he's kind of arrogant, but also confident in
Yep.
his abilities because he is so powerful in the Force that he can do that.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
he's
that's
very
awesome.
very masterful in his, you're about seeing Anakin, I mean like maximum peak level, before
And
unfortunately.
and still likable in this. Like
Yeah.
he's not annoying. That's the thing. Again, I always say Clone Wars is the best version of Anakin that we've ever got
Yep.
because his character is still likable, but you can see those seeds thrown in there that because obviously we know where he ends up. But it
Exactly.
still like shows more of what Obi-Wan in episode 4 describes Anakin as, a good friend, valiant warrior, great starfighter pilot.
Yep.
And I just thought that was really interesting, really cool. But then he walks right out, to move on, and he's just again still doing that same thing, just boss about the whole thing, which ties back even to episode 8 in some ways. And you said it reminded you of what was it again?
In episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Luke was kind of just doing his whole thing. I don't know, either the sail barge or in Jabba's palace.
when he just walks up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he just walks up. Yeah, I think more the part where he just walks up like he's owning the place. But the whole thing there with R2, I think more of the sail barge. Like as the
Yes.
plot was unfolding, you're like, what's he doing? He's walking out there like he just owns the place. And even Luke, you're like, what's Luke gonna do? He's just gonna jump into the Sarlacc pit? This isn't gonna happen, But then all of a sudden the music, bum bum, does that thing. And is that what you were about to talk about?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. They took that music specifically from episode 6 and put it in that scene, and they did mirror so much. Yeah, it was like the bamba or whatever the tune was there, but this is like those
like
2 notes,
low brass like trombones, like blah, kind of blatting there.
Yeah, it's like a suspenseful moment,
Yep.
And I like that they threw that in there and mirrored and echoed what obviously this came before and what's to come, and it's father and son.
Yes.
Which I thought was so cool and so brilliant, and then it's funny too because then he's like, "Wait, I surrender."
Yeah, right.
It's like that was so good, and it was just a ploy,
Yeah, and that just proves the deception. I don't know how dingy those droids are. The B2s, right?
Yeah, the B1 battle droids.
The B1s, they got all this armor and shields, and they're perfectly entrenched. And then he says, "I give up," and they're like, "Well, cease fire," or whatever.
Yeah, but then it was cool though because basically, and it was a tactic, so it was paid off. It wasn't just a dumb throwaway thing. It was like, no, he had a plan, and he was enacting the plan. It was to throw him off, but the real reason he was saying that was to bring out the tactical droid. They just didn't know where the droid was to take over and take him out.
Yeah.
And then it was just to bring out the tactical droid, which I thought was really cool. It was fun to see that. It was a smart play, smart move.
Yeah.
And it was also cool to see R2 magnetically attached to the side of the bridge. I saw some people online were like, that's a new thing that R2 can do. But I was like, wait, no, he's an astromech droid. Whenever he goes out on the ship in episode 1, he's magnetically attached to the ship.
Exactly.
So that he can roll around on the ship, not float off into space.
Yeah.
So it actually played out well. It was a different way we've seen him because he was totally like vertical that way.
Yes.
But that was really cool. And then all the guys underneath.
Yeah, they're like, hang on just a little bit longer. They're doing like serious, like strong, hanging on underneath there. I don't think
they're kind of joking around like, we have to hang on much longer.
Yeah, exactly, like monkey style or whatever. It was impressive. Yeah, and then Zach asked a question on YouTube. He said, "What scene gave you guys the most chills?" For me, it was either the opening crawl or when Anakin showed up as a complete bad dude. Yeah, and 100%, that was probably the best scene. That or the moment when Anakin and later on Ahsoka see each other.
Yeah. I
kind of the reunion there. There's two different feelings, like the epicness of Anakin just walking out there like Luke did in episode 8, like Luke did in episode 8, and then Zach also followed up with the score on the bridge brought me back to when Luke did the backflip on the desert skiff. So he's talking about the music there on Return of the Jedi. That whole sequence was epic, and I was listening to what you were saying, Dustin, about how Lucasfilm and a lot of his movies, not even just Star Wars, but like Indiana Jones, stuff like that, how they do. They start off an episode kind of like finishing up a battle, and then they move on. Like I totally want to do that on our next fan film. Like we're finishing up, like we're at the end of a sequence or whatever. We're trying to accomplish something, and it kind of picked up in the middle of this battle, and then Anakin comes and they clean that one up, and they're only like 5-10 minutes into the episode, and they move along. But
yeah, exactly. It kind of drops you right into the action.
I love that.
It sets it up well. It's a good movie tactic, or whatever.
When you think you got 30 minutes, you got 30 minutes, you want to achieve, you want to show some serious stuff. And this one is obviously about the siege of Mandalore, but you got to get to that point, you know what I mean? Because you haven't seen Anakin really fight anybody. You haven't seen Obi-Wan. Well, Anakin helped actually a lot in the first couple of episodes with the Bad Batch, but you haven't seen Obi-Wan do much. So here we are. We haven't seen the full clone army do a whole lot. You've seen the Bad Batch and the smaller crews do the various things. And you've been with Ahsoka the last 3 or 4 episodes doing her stuff to meet up with the Mandos. And so here we are,
Yeah.
they're finally merging. The clones are merging with Ahsoka, with Anakin, with Obi-Wan, and so you got to set the stage and get them all together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not only is it setting up the Siege of Mandalore arc, it's also adding to and setting up episode 3 of Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
It's linking things together so well. So it's if you watch all this in succession, it's setting it up perfectly for episode 3, but along with everything else you just discussed. So I thought that's genius.
It is genius, and that's what I mean. Like our episodes, or our fan films, it's in 5 minutes, but it's amazing the things you can do in a half hour, with an episode of like this. Although it is a 3-parter, so they are setting up for like probably an hour and a half total storyline. With
yeah, it
between,
probably will be a full length movie by the time we're done with his arc.
So it's pretty cool, and I think that chills moment was that when Anakin was so cool in that moment. That was really prime Anakin, power.
Yeah, and this was like, it was done so well. Again, Filoni is always, he's just on top of things. He just knows how to do it. But it's done so well because he hits you right off the bat with nostalgia. And it's the right kind of nostalgia. It's not the beat you over the head like, remember this, you're gonna love this. It's like no, here's some nostalgia. This is what you like.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, yes, yummy, thank you. I'll take some more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then that's what he does. He gives you nostalgia, but done in a different way. It's not showing you the exact same thing that's happened, but it's in a way that it echoes what you've seen. So it feels that much more Star Wars with everything that's going on in the episode.
Exactly.
So I love how he does that with Anakin, with the opening, just the opening image that you get, the fanfare, the music, and how the characters are all the characters in this are nailed. Like, these are the characters, almost more so than the movies in some ways.
Yep.
I don't know if that's sacrilegious to say, but how they play these characters is brilliant.
Yes.
I just love it.
Yeah, it matches so well. Like you said, in the movies, even like some of the Anakin that we got was not this cool. This is as cool as he is, but this is way cooler than a lot of moments in the movies. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of limited by some of the acting, and we felt like some of that fell short. And Obi-Wan was amazing, Ewan McGregor, but in the animated world, you can show a lot, of emotion, and they've just nailed it. You know what I mean? Not always could they show that much emotion in animation, but they're doing so good with the way they do this, and the voice actors and everybody, and the sound, and it's just the music, drives a lot of it, of course. And
I think sorry.
No, that's
finish
it.
Your point. Sorry.
No,
I was just gonna say, I think that also what we've always been saying too is, I think the episode 1, 2, and 3 could have been that much better, because this is an example again of George Lucas with a great story to tell, but with a director who can get the performances that really make an impact. Have George Lucas do the story, but have somebody else direct, so they can work in tandem and make it to unimaginable heights.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's why I wish, it's hard when he sold Lucasfilm, he could have still put the story together, maybe somehow, I don't know, and then had these amazing, directors come and just follow through on that vision. You know what I mean? But, Zach jumped in on YouTube and said, yeah, kind of like how the beginning of Raiders, going along with what we said, it showed Indy on an adventure. Then a couple minutes later, he's back at school as a school teacher. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love the dynamic there. He's getting away from those people and the natives in the jungle there, and the whole rock thing, and you feel the tenseness right at the beginning. You're like, all right, setting the stage. I would think
some action.
Yeah, exactly, action, and then then he's back to the school teacher, and then he meets with the guy. I think Last Crusade kind of does the same thing. I'm not sure about Temple of Doom. Well, Last Crusade is him when he's younger. It starts off, and so but it's the same thing. He's in action, right? Jumps in, So, yeah, brilliant. And then he's followed up with The Circle is Now Complete. When Filoni began working on the Clone Wars in 2008, he was but the learner. Now he is the master.
Yes.
And it's just so true. And,
that's perfectly summed up there. That's the perfect statement.
Yep, that's it. That's why Zach is co-host number 3.
Co-host number 3. We're going to have to get a live feed of Zach next time.
Yeah, we'll have to feed in Zach and get him chime in here with us. So, which he is. He's doing a great job. So thanks for that. And so we kind of get back to they get an emergency call. Isn't that what happened next?
Yeah, well, yeah, and now I'm trying to.
We had,
after that
we had a
epic,
suggestion here too from our fact checker. She said on the next Stay on Target, we should start off with some action.
oh,
Jump
maybe
in with
another
some,
duel.
yeah, jump in with some action, and then
The only thing is, I'm not sure how we can do that quarantined.
yeah, quarantined. Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
the lamest date ever.
well, we'd have to pre-record it. You could like shoot a blaster at me, and I could maybe dodge it or something. Hey,
we
you
should,
know,
we should do that.
with the creativity, we could totally do it. All right, good idea.
No, we're just going to be. No, what's going to happen is we're just going to be wrapping up last week's episode in the next.
Oh, that's true.
We're still going to be talking about it.
Yeah. Zoom lightsaber duel, she said. That's what we got to figure out. We got to figure out. Zoom's got the green screen thing. Couldn't they roto? Just do some natural roto effects? That'd be brilliant.
I don't even want to think about how we're going to do that.
Piece of
No,
cake.
just
We'll do that's what I'm saying. We'll reenact the Han Solo Greedo thing. You know. And then you'll just be camera looking at you and then me, and then we'll jump into it. So
that'd be awesome.
it can totally be done. But anyhow. So yes, they
We'll have to get Zach to direct it.
What's that?
I'll have to get Zach to direct it.
Yeah. Zach will direct it. Yeah, Zach will know what to do. Right, Zach? Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Exactly. Oh man, dad jokes.
Dad jokes. Oh.
Spoiler
He's never
alert.
heard that one.
Spoiler alert. There's dad jokes on this show.
Right.
Oh boy. So yeah, I can't remember how it got back to that. They got back to the ship though. And
well, it was cool. I just want to just kind of finish that scene off a little bit. It was cool because he gives them the signal, Anakin gives R2 the signal, and then all the clones, which is funny to me, they all have jetpacks, kind of like the Mandalorians in a lot of ways, which kind of bookends a little bit, but it's also they all have jetpacks and they just come swarming around and taking them all out, which is awesome. And also that line in episode 8 that everybody
episode 9, I thought about that instantly. I'm like, they fly now? They fly? They've been flying for years.
They've been flying forever. What are you talking? The only thing I can ever say about that is maybe they didn't see it. But the only thing I'm like, he was the stormtrooper.
Well, maybe the clones flew, and then when they became stormtroopers, they totally deactivated all of the jetpack people. I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure there's canon material where they are flying with jetpacks as stormtroopers.
It's just it was a good line in the movie that they should have edited out because Lucasfilm story group should have been like, they've actually been flying forever. And it was one of those things that was a funny.
They leaned to the joke. They didn't lean to the canon.
Yes,
I would say
they fell into the joke, but it's one of those that they could have, somebody could have, or you could have had somebody like C-3PO. Maybe they did. They cut it. Say something like, actually, my history shows they've been flying for 80 years, or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe when JJ was making it, he thought maybe it just pertained to those specific characters and not seeing them fly before.
Yeah.
But again, the only thing there for me is John Boyega's character was a stormtrooper. He had to have seen somebody fly at some point. And again, the technology's been there for decades, literally decades.
Yep.
I'm sure,
But they did reenact one of the same motions in that one battle sequence near the end. When the jetpack got shot, with the Mandos, but when the jetpack got shot or injured on the Mando.
Oh yeah.
And then how it kind of zipped out of control like a balloon.
Yeah.
Just like in episode 9.
It totally blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense, but it's the same kind of death. You know what I mean? It's funny. That's the downfall of all, jetpack situations.
Yeah. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they come out, and then Anakin, he kind of, I think he gives Obi-Wan a little bit more crap about it, and Obi-Wan and him talk a little bit. I forget what they're talking about, but then the emergency transmission arrives, and then they got to get back to the ship real fast.
Yep.
And actually, that came, because that emergency transmission came from Ahsoka and oh man, I just lost her
Bo-Katan?
name. Wow. Bo-Katan, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, and that was cool. And we knew where it was heading, you know. We were all like, and that's some of this stuff is what was giving me some chills in there because I was like, there's so much canon going on in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, whenever it's adding to canon and or like of the bigger picture,
Yeah.
that's when I really tune in and I'm like, what is going to happen in this moment? How is it going to affect something later or before?
Yep.
I love these moments, especially seeing, you know, Anakin and Ahsoka actually talking to each other again for the first time since she left the Order. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy stuff. I mean, there's got to be so much going on. Another thought I had too with that was how much time has passed between the last episode arc and this episode arc? Because to me, Ahsoka seems a decent amount older. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just the impression I got with her new armor and even her voice
Yeah.
sounded more like the older version of Ahsoka versus the younger.
That's true.
What do you?
You talking about between episode 6 and 7, or are you talking about between the last episode 8 and 9?
I'm talking about last episode 8 and 9.
Okay.
It seems like there's time that's passed. I don't know. That's just,
It could have been. Yeah, it could be several months have passed. I mean, it couldn't be too long because they haven't had the babies yet. You know, I mean, we're under the 9-month. You know, we know Padme's pregnant with the twins, so
that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, you're right. But we don't know necessarily when, because sometimes this is out of sequence.
that's true.
Did the Bad Batch happen after technically Ahsoka's time frame, or
Yeah,
did
that's
Bad
true.
Batch happen first and then Ahsoka? That's what I don't know. But I think that it just plays more into my theory about they shot this later, you know. So she actually Eckstein was able to do more of the voice like Rebels, the more grown up.
Yes.
And also because I think she's been dealing with the Mandalorians now for maybe, even if it was just a couple weeks, you know, could have aged her in some ways too. But she also has a little bit more of her armor set up in Rebels in this one versus what she was wearing before. So I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, but you know, I mean, she's definitely more mature, especially when she sees Anakin initially. He's kind of like, you know, he wants to chat and catch up and, you know, figure out what's going on as if no time has passed. Kind of, it seems like, and she's a little more serious and hard edged about, you know, look, you know, we'll catch up when we can. You know, now's not the time. I'm working with the Mandos, trying to, you know, help them out, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and it was brilliantly done because you know it plays so well into Anakin's character and Ahsoka's character as they progressed. Anakin's, you know, the downfall of Anakin is his attachment. You know, that's how people can control him and stuff like that. It really plays into showing he's still very much attached to Ahsoka, and you know, can't imagine why. He's got to create things in his mind as to why she would leave the Order or why somebody wouldn't want to be, you know, with him in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. I thought that played well as to their character arcs, and it was just like you can feel for Anakin, but you can also understand Ahsoka's point of view because she got burned by the Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's why she left, and there's just so many emotional and tension points going on that they played these scenes so perfectly.
Yeah. It's true. It's crazy to think about when they filmed that episode 6 or season 6, you know, 7 years ago or something, you know, and then to kind of pick up that same emotion, you know, as if no time has passed 7 years later. You know what I mean? I guess it's pretty impressive by all parts, you know, and to feel that and to not make it feel like, yeah, that was a big deal then, because sometimes you see inconsistencies with movies, sometimes you see inconsistencies with different shows. You're like, well, this should be a big epic moment, and then they're kind of like, they kind of blow it off. You're like, wait, that's not the, you know, it should have continued. And I feel like they've always done a good job, and they definitely did a good job there. And you
They're
can
consistent.
Yeah, consistent, exactly. And that's just Filoni once again carrying it through, and
he knows the canon.
Yeah.
He knows their mindset and where they should be during the time that they're showing us. You know,
exactly. He's got it all together, so we're just reaping the benefits of that. You know.
Yeah, he is the master.
Yeah, Zach did comment. He had heard that joke, Dustin, before. Exactly.
Oh yeah, I figured.
Too much, he said. But and then he commented when we were talking about they fly now. He's basically commenting along with us, and I'm just getting to him later. They fly now. Scene irritates me every time. How did Poe nor Finn ever see a jetpack? Finn was a stormtrooper. Poe was a general in the Resistance. They don't know their history. Yeah. It's true. It's just a joke.
that's an example of a director who doesn't know the canon as well. And that's whenever like Dave Filoni or people from the story group should have been like, maybe we shouldn't do this one. Like you were saying that, that I don't know. That's where it kind of misses a lot of the time. Episode 7, 8, and 9, I just feel like they missed the mark. It might play as a normal movie fairly well, but not necessarily in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So
And Dustin.
yeah, and also
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I see I have a friend of mine on here. Vinny, what's up, man? It's been a long time. Hope you're doing well, staying safe and healthy. You're the best. Vinicius.
Vinicius, yeah. Oh man, I feel like I remember Vinny. You called him Vinny for short.
Yeah, Vinny. Yep.
I remember Vinny playing some video games and stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All that.
He doesn't live in our country.
He doesn't even live in our country at the moment, you mean?
Great. Vinny's awesome. Glad you're joining. Thanks for commenting and watching along, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and then Zach jumped in on YouTube, said, I felt so awkward for Anakin when Ahsoka didn't want to talk to him.
It was painfully awkward for everybody, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. I mean, but what do you expect? She walked away. She kind of felt betrayed. It was tense, and then now her mind is focused on something else. She's moved on, so to speak, and she's kind of reconciled with that after the arc. And they're showing that, she reconciled some of that in her head. Although she knew she was going to have to face them at the end of the last episode. She's like, well, it's time to deal with them again and see if we can get their help, basically. But she's not coming to them, Jedi to Jedi. She's basically like, I don't know, working with the Mandos now, kind of trying to do her part.
Like a weird point. Yeah, and I think that also played into a little bit of her hard edge was, again, she was with the Mandalorians, and she knew this was a big deal and it needed to be taken care of and taken seriously. And there was just so many emotions going into it, but I think she just decided to play it more straight and a little bit. She was almost a little snippy.
A little snipsy.
Going back to her early days.
Yep. Snips. Man. I half waited for Anakin to say something like that. Part of me was like, is he going to say snips when they get together?
That would have been funny. I actually would have laughed. I wouldn't mind that, honestly.
At this point, yeah, it actually could have worked, because it really would have been a throwback, But
might have cut some of the tension too.
Yeah.
But it worked out. I mean, how they played it though was, again, brilliant. And then they came on board. I just loved seeing that ship come in. I was like, man, those Mandalorian ships are so cool.
Yeah.
And walking them and the way they walked out. She actually walked out. Oh, what was it? What was the theme? There was a specific theme that she walked out to that was kind of saying she's the character of this arc, the series. But it was
was the Force theme? Was it?
Might have been the Force theme.
There was a lot of reused themes in this one. A lot.
Actually, John Williams themes in this,
and it might have been that one because I was like, "Wow, that's really stuck." I think that was the one that was like the Luke or the Force theme, the Leia or what I can't remember. Da 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 da. I can't remember.
But yeah, then she walked out and it was like, man, that was a boss moment right there. This is giving me some chills.
Yes.
And then they went kind of into deliberation, which was really cool to see. Bo-Katan. There's just so much history to these characters.
Yeah.
If you've seen all the Clone Wars and everything, you got Bo-Katan with Obi-Wan and the line that she throws at him and how he has to respond, but then Anakin and the awkwardness with Ahsoka and then the seriousness of Maul playing into it and taking back Mandalore. But it's also an age-old conflict between the Mandalorians and the Jedi that they mentioned in this. There's so much lore that is happening. Yes. My mind's like racing. I'm like processing all of this epicness that's happening right now with like 4 characters on screen.
Yeah,
it was so cool, man. I'd like to break it all down, but I don't even know if we have time.
Yeah, we're gonna be breaking it down in the next episode too, because this is gonna continue. So we'll be able to dig in more as they keep going on. But yeah, the whole Mandalorian War and the 100-year, what do they say, the 100-year treaty or whatever with the
between the Jedi or the Republic, I believe, and the Mandalorians, because they fought way back in the day, which I don't know if they ever made that 100% canon, or maybe they did in one of the episodes of Rebels.
Yeah,
but they used to fight, and then they made a treaty, Mandalore and the whatever I'm trying to say, the Republic. Wow.
The Republic. Yeah, the Republic. Yep.
But
basically the Jedi, because the Jedi's are kind of maintaining the Republic, right?
Yeah, and then that's why they ran into a conflict was because Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Well, why they couldn't have the Republic directly help them was because of a treaty, because that would almost be like an act of war against Mandalore again. So
Yep.
that's why it was a weird situation that they didn't want to that they didn't want to run into.
Yep.
So I think having, Ahsoka along kind of switched it up, but that also brought up some more tension.
Yeah.
And basically how Obi-Wan was saying no, they couldn't do it because of these reasons in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Bo-Katan throws out the line,
I
Duchess.
know.
I thought she meant something to you, which was like, oh man, that's like a knife wound. Right
If you remember watching that episode, you're like, yes, she means something to him. Are you kidding me?
Yes. Are you kidding? Yeah, I know. And that's Bo-Katan's sister.
Yeah.
I mean, Bo-Katan's Duchess Satine's sister, which is another crazy thing, and that's why she was hoping he'd help. And then, but the most Jedi thing that he's done, though, I mean, to his credit or discredit, Obi-Wan says, I can't let my emotions cloud my judgment.
Yep.
The council will decide. Which I was like, dang, that's harsh. Dang, that's brutal. But that is the Obi-Wan, stays true to what he knows and what he's supposed to do as a Jedi.
Exactly.
And he's not wrong. And
No.
that's the tough thing about it. And even Ahsoka comes at him against it later, saying, playing politics as usual, which is Anakin rubbing off on her. Anakin rubbing off on her. I just thought, man, they just nail all these moments. And I just want to watch it like 10 times again just so I can catch all that. But there's so much good stuff going on. And kind of how they skirt around it in some ways, although they technically still are breaking the treaty because they have Commander Rex. They up him to commander so that he's technically in charge of the siege of Mandalore with Bo-Katan. She's not really Death Watch anymore. I forget what she's called though now.
I don't know either.
Something Owl. I forget. But yeah, it was
crazy.
That play back and forth, and then we can get to. I shouldn't break down the whole episode. Sorry, but
no, but there's a lot in this episode. I mean, it's insane. We could literally talk another hour on just some of those parts and what all it means and all the Easter eggs that tie in. And Zach did say on YouTube, he said definitely the only thing I don't like was how Rebels kind of spoiled everything that could happen in the next episode. Example, Rex probably not going to bite the dust in the next. We know what's going to happen to Ahsoka. We know what's going to happen to Maul, basically, and so on.
Well, for the most part, we don't know 100% with Maul, but
yeah, we don't know what happens because there's some gray area with Ahsoka. But you're right. We know that they're not going to eat it. Because if you've seen Rebels,
that's the thing I've never really liked about prequels is it takes away from the threat. It takes away from the, oh my goodness, are they going to die? What's going to happen? Because what's going to happen. That's always the problem with prequels for me. If you do it right, I think it still can be done amazingly, but it does take away a lot of the suspense.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've even joked about our episode 4 being a prequel to the Darksaber or something, or at some point, But
we thought about like totally different characters,
yeah,
too. That might change it up a little bit.
You never know. Zach did say, I believe Kevin Kiner's the composer for Clone Wars, which he is, I believe, and because he did Rebels brilliantly, and he's I think always done Clone Wars, and fact checker actually confirmed that. So, but he's awesome.
He's brilliant.
Yeah. And to be able to tie into the, John Williams themes and stuff, it's just perfect. And you got to know when to use that, when to bring up those main themes, because that means something. That means that moment when you hear that Force theme or you hear that, suspense, whatever line it is, that means something. They don't just throw that out there. And especially with Filoni, they don't just put that Lucasfilm logo at the beginning of this because it's nothing, it means something. And probably because, I don't know if George Lucas had an influence on what he wanted to do with the Siege of Mandalore originally with the Clone Wars. Who knows how much of this he inspired, and so maybe they wanted to put that in there.
Dave could be talking to him, honestly, about this whole. He could be. I mean, it says created by George Lucas, doesn't it?
Yeah, George Lucas. Yeah, he created Maul. Yes. He killed Maul in Episode 1. And then he brought him back in Clone Wars, and so now we're still kind of following along, and the Maul storyline again, which ties into
Yeah.
all of George Lucas's stuff. So
Yeah, and so I don't keep going into all the echoes and all the Easter eggs. Just look up Siege of Mandalore Easter eggs on YouTube, and you'll see all the Easter eggs. There's so many of them. I caught most of them, but there was a few in there I did not catch at all.
yeah,
That was good. So I won't keep going into all that
I should
stuff
work
because
up a sheet so we can reference it next time.
right. Yeah, that'd be great.
A little list that we can pop up and see.
Yeah, but yeah, we should probably get going here pretty soon. But
Yeah.
let's go. Let's hit some more main points of this episode. I mean, I could talk about this episode for days, but
Yeah, for days. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It jumps into so basically they kind of figured out a way, like you said, around that. But there were some epic moments for Ahsoka. She got to actually talk with Anakin and kind of reconcile a little bit, which was good to
yeah,
see. Good for the soul to see them reconcile. And you don't know if they were going to see each other again because you can tell the Emperor's working behind the scenes and he's
yeah,
drawing all of them, the main army, back because Grievous attacks. Who's telling Grievous to attack the Coruscant? Obviously, the Emperor, Palpatine himself, and he's also telling the Jedi basically where to go. What?
yeah. He's telling Dooku and the Jedi.
Yeah,
Well, not really Jedi, but kind of.
yeah. He's not the only thing he's not really controlling is Maul. So
Yeah, he's the outlier right now. Yeah,
right, so he's kind of it's crazy. So I don't know if he got word about them possibly going to help Mandalore or whatnot. So then he all of a sudden urgently made Grievous attack. I don't know. Who knows?
yeah. That could have played into it. I mean, because technically in the comic book, actually during Clone Wars, Sidious, the Emperor, captures Maul, and then they had a comic book which they referred to in a lot of this. This is kind of the in between. Maul escapes from Dooku. He's actually taken to Dooku's prison dungeon. Maul
Oh,
is,
okay. Oh, wow.
yeah, and he escapes with the help of the Mandalorians, people
Uh-huh.
that the Mandalorians that are loyal to him as Mandalore, the ultimate. So
Okay.
it's really interesting how even that stuff, we haven't seen on screen. It's a comic book, but it adds to it, and they stay faithful to it because it's canon. So that
Yep.
was really interesting. I need to actually go back and read through that whole comic book arc because I know there's a lot there.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be interesting to check out, especially with what's going on now.
yeah,
Any
exactly.
of that, any of those nuggets on how Dooku and Emperor and all of them tie into Maul is fascinating stuff.
Well, and how Maul does not like Dooku because Dooku's is technically Sidious's next apprentice, and Maul
True.
was his previous apprentice. So it's like a
Yeah.
whole awkward thing, and Maul's trying to surpass them all and
Yeah.
become the next Sith Lord in his own way, and that's why he's
Using
basically,
Mandalore.
yeah, he's taken over Mandalore. I mean, he's on track to do it. I mean, he's taken
Yep.
over Mandalore. He's also taken the underworld. I
Yep.
mean, he's
Yep.
basically control the whole underworld at this point. He's in control basically of the Pike, Crimson Dawn.
Yes.
I don't think he's in control of the Hutt,
Huts.
but I'm sure
No.
he's taken, a way to take control of stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
he's
he's working
building
with the
everything up.
Huts though, and using their power, and you know,
Yeah,
it's
which is
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the whole outlier, like you said, but working from like the ground up to take over everything and has a plan of his own.
Yeah. Exactly. It's crazy.
And
And
even what he says at the end of this episode, I don't want to go into that just yet, but it plays perfectly.
yep.
But what you were saying too about how the Emperor setting everything up, they show, which is crazy, why it leads so well into episode 3. They show all of the whenever all the Order 66 happens with all the Jedi
Yeah.
all over the spread out over the galaxy, they show all those same Jedi that you see in episode 3 getting Order 66, which they get deaded.
Yep. True.
Yeah, they show all that in this in animated form, but it looks so good. I mean, it looks super close. I was like, man, that is so cool. And in nostalgia, and it's like, dang, this is about to go down. It's just crazy, and how it lines up so perfectly. I mean, Anakin and Obi-Wan are being called away to go rescue the Emperor. I mean, that's literally what they're going to do, and that's how episode 3 starts.
Yeah.
So we are butting up exactly to what's happening. But
Yep.
I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But going back to Anakin and Ahsoka, it was really cool to see their conversation and what he ends up giving her, and the whole conversation there, and with the clones. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but it's yeah, he basically honors her, and she's like, "Well, I'm not a commander anymore," and they're kind of saluting her. She kind of it's kind of awkward for her, and they
Yeah,
had their moment, and um,
and the gut punch there that Anakin says, loyalty to the clones is everything.
yes,
And
exactly.
then they order 66 kill off the Jedi because
Yeah,
they've been programmed.
yeah,
That's not
they
their
were
fault.
yes, exactly. But loyalty, and then their chip switched their loyalty, so ultimately they, you know, that's how it happened. But yeah, it was pretty
And
cool to see that room full of clones.
yeah,
That was the surprise, one of the surprises.
that was so cool. And
Yes.
Ahsoka and Rex was in charge of them. That was so cool. And even the line that Rex always says to her, which I love that they have this through line, is experience is every. Is what's the line he says? Oh shoot, I forget. But it's basically like experience means the most
Mm-hmm.
above like commanders and generals titles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Experience. Yeah. Like the loyalties forged, basically, like in battle or whatever. Is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, I forget what he
I
says,
can't
but it's
think
the
of it
line
either.
that he says in Rebels to her, and that but he actually says that in the very first episode, the movie, the Clone Wars movie, he says that to her,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then in the very first movie, he says that to her. It's the same line. It's been a through arc, and that's what I love. Even the relationship between Ahsoka and Rex is a great relationship to see,
Yep.
and the respect they have for each other and how they work so well together.
For sure. Zach did have a couple comments here. I wanted to jump in, and then we'll
Yeah,
finish up here. He said, "Yeah, I imagine it's hard to base your music talking about Kiner off someone
yeah,
else's for the most part, but he does it brilliantly, which he masters it. I mean, he does. He could do a film score, movie score, I think, and do a brilliant job."
yeah. I 100% agree. I think he's probably the best one we've gotten since John Williams. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because he knows when to use John Williams stuff, but he's also created some beautiful pieces. I'd say in
Yeah.
Rebels, that one episode with Kanan. I mean, that some amazing stuff that was all his own.
Glorious. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
And then he said, "Was Maul originally supposed to die in the Phantom Menace script?" After this video, I'm going to go watch the Easter eggs, catch any Easter eggs. Oh, he's going to go watch Rise of Skywalker again, catch any Easter eggs
Oh,
missed.
nice.
I think ROS, Rise of Skywalker. And then, and catch any Easter eggs. And then,
Revenge of the Sith.
oh, Revenge of the Sith. Duh. Rise of Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, it could be both, but I think he's
He's talking
talking
about
about
he's talking about revenge. Yep, that makes more sense. And then he said, "Yeah, the part where the clones were saluting Ahsoka was touching. It made me sad knowing that what orders Sheev would give them." Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty intense. That's part of the prequel-ness that you're like, wow, that's why these moments mean something, because they only mean something for a short period of time, but in that moment you got to appreciate them saluting her, them putting the paint on the helmet,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know,
Honoring her.
and giving her own, or was that Rex's? Wasn't that Rex?
They said
That was his
he
helmet.
said it was all of their
All of them,
helmets. It was he said once they found out that she was coming on board, and basically that. Well, the only confusing part there for me was, did they know that they were gonna actually do the siege of Mandalore? Like, it already
yeah.
seemed like they knew they were gonna do it.
And they
You
just got done
know?
talking like down the hall. word
Yeah,
word
but I
travels
think they were
fast.
doing it. I think they were doing it just to honor her anyway.
Yeah.
Type situation. So
And
he
that's why
said once they
Anakin had
found
the
out.
idea. He's like, "Oh, I know a perfect troop that could help her out, and we could promote Rex, and they've already got the paint to do
Yeah,
it."
yeah, right. We've already got everything set up.
Yeah.
I
So
still don't understand it. So the council must have approved something apparently, because otherwise Rex and a lot of those clone forces wouldn't have been able to do what they did.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And Zach did mean Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow, I shouldn't have. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect. No, but no, I know what you're saying. It was a good touching part, and then she got her lightsabers. That's probably the biggest part, right?
Yeah, that was epic.
For Star Wars nerd fans, that's a big part. That's a big gift. Getting a
Mhm.
lightsaber. Anytime the lightsabers exchange hands, he'd been keeping them. He mentioned how he kept them work in good working order. Basically, he'd been taking good care of him or something, and he
Yeah, and
upgraded
then
him or
yeah,
something. Go ahead.
yep, because she turns them on, and then they're blue
Yeah.
versus her green and yellow that she has,
Yeah.
and then he says, "I've upgraded them."
Yeah. And
I
they
thought
did.
that was good.
They were cool. They sounded cool. They looked cool, and yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And she does a little flourish with them, and it just seems natural. It just worked.
Yep.
Um, and also whenever she plays that, or whenever he gives him that, it's Yoda's theme that plays, and that's like a sign of a master working with an apprentice or giving knowledge to an
Yeah.
apprentice. Is usually when that theme plays. So I thought that was genius. Again, Kevin Kiner, like we were talking about, played that perfectly.
Masterfully. Yep. 100%.
And yeah, it was interesting just their dialogue going back and forth. And this is the last time that Anakin and Ahsoka see each other before Order 66 and Maul. The next time that we know of they meet is Rebels,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fighting. So
And it's not Anakin
spoilers for
anymore.
Rebels. Yeah, exactly. So that's why watching all of this was just crazy, because we didn't know this before.
Yep.
There was so much missing in between. So it's just
Yeah.
crazy situation. I still wonder if they're not going to go even farther or go past Order 66, but only take it from Ahsoka's standpoint. I would love to see that. I think that would be amazing. And I think they might do that either in the next episode or the episode after. And I think that's how everything's going to go down with the inhibitor chip and Rex. It's going to be a bunch of stuff that I think plays into it. I'm so excited. It's crazy. Anyway, staying with this episode,
Yeah.
I wanted to say one of the most epic things of this whole episode was the actual siege on Mandalore.
Yep.
Seeing the clone troopers with Bo-Katan's Mandalorians fighting all of these red Mandalorians in the sky, and
Yeah.
it was so cool. And then how Ahsoka just jumps
Yeah.
out without a parachute, and that was like one of the coolest scenes of this whole episode. What do you think?
That whole end battle sequence, just was amazing. Yeah. Just all the sky battle. Yep.
All right, we're back in.
Yeah. So sorry, we dropped there for a second.
We got to drop for a second. We'll finish. We're wrapping up.
Yeah, we are wrapping up. That's our sake. Riding in that on that ship. Getting that guy out of that cockpit that was kind of stuck or whatever, and then she just kind of jumps.
Still saving people. Taking out bad people, saving people. It was just so cool.
Yep, exactly. And then Zach asked to clarify: were those lightsabers in the box her old hilts, and weren't they originally green? Oh, I thought it was my Wi-Fi. Yeah, because his signal dropped. But no, yeah, we're back.
Yeah, it was us.
No, it was
us.
Yeah,
no. Sorry, do you want to take that?
No, go ahead.
That one.
Go ahead.
So yeah, those were her old hilts, and they were technically a green and a yellow blades before, and then Anakin, when he says because she turns them on, they turn blue, which is typically his color, which is almost like a master giving something to his apprentice to show that they are now a master in a way. I believe is kind of how that played out. But then whenever they turn blue, he says, I've upgraded them, which is kind of funny and selfish in some ways, that he's like, it's better now because it's blue, which is my color.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's nuts. But
good question.
But good question. Yeah. And yeah, the
there's a lot more.
You mentioned the explosion behind her when she landed was
Oh yeah,
classic. Landing, explosion,
landing.
Walking away, super cool. And then she's attacked by like 30 Mandalorians just, blasting at her.
Yeah.
She had to defend herself. And then shortly thereafter, once she kind of staved them off initially, she was able to, they were able to team up and move along. So.
Yeah, exactly. That was so cool. And I also want to, it was the action in this whole episode, again, movie quality. I would love to have seen all of this live action. I mean, we'd be blown away if it was live action. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm still blown away, and it's animated, and it looks fantastic. So cool.
Yeah.
I love that whole action sequence from the beginning, to this. It was just, it bookended nicely with a lot of action. So cool. And then I just wanted to say too that this episode actually ties in a lot more to Rebels in a lot of ways, especially seeing a lot of these Mandalorians
Yeah.
It was so cool to see. And I thought one of the head Mandalorians is in Rebels, and Sabine ends up fighting
Yeah.
him in
Gar
Rebels. So
Saxon,
there's
right?
so much canon going on, and
Yeah.
it fits seamlessly, and it makes sense. That's what I love about it.
Yep.
Also, but back to the battle stuff too. There's a lot more bodies. I noticed a lot more bodies, and my wife did too. Whenever we were watching this, she's like, "This is not something you normally see." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. This is pretty epic one. There was a lot going on, a lot more than you normally see. I think part of it's probably they have a bigger budget than they used to, maybe, and
Yeah.
the technology had a lot, and they were trying to make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah. Big,
So
larger scale. Yeah. A
yeah,
large scale battle. Yeah. And they did. And then it kind of built up to the final moment, which we can close out. We're coming up on 2 hours here. But
yeah. Sorry.
they when they get into that tunnel system, basically, they kind of
Oh,
Bo-Katan and Ahsoka split up, of course, and then Bo-Katan takes on the head guy who she was sick and tired of. He's kind of ruling Mandalore, I guess, right?
Bo-Katan is Yeah, she's fighting the puppet, kind of the puppet ruler in some
Yeah,
ways.
it's like
Not really the ruler,
Imlek
but
or something like that. I can't remember his name,
oh shoot,
but
I forget his name now too.
she takes
Fact
him.
checker?
Yeah, she takes him on, and then he's like, "They wanted you to bring the Jedi here, or he wanted you to bring the Jedi here, but you brought the wrong one."
Yeah, yeah,
And
and that ties perfectly over. Yeah.
yeah, which is perfect, and you know that who Maul wants to see, of course. And
I love that
oh
ending. That
man,
was
the
so good.
cliffhanger ending, and they just they got unfortunately trapped in the tunnel there, and didn't end well for the
With
clone troopers.
Yeah, because that wasn't Rex. Rex went with
Yeah, I was afraid of that at
Bo-Katan.
first. I was like, wait, he didn't
Yeah,
need it, but yeah. So
but it was crazy how all those Mandalorians took out all of the clones without
uh-huh.
much of a battle. I mean, that was sketchy, and also because Maul was down there, probably taking out a few too.
Yep.
And how they got split up, I was kind of like, how did they get split up so easily? I was
It
like,
all
didn't
happened so
Ahsoka catch
quickly. Yeah, it was like almost like a nightmare sequence or something where
It was.
Ahsoka's just running around like following the bodies through the tunnel system, and tunnel
It was
systems are.
suspenseful.
But tunnel systems reminds me of Mandalorian because they use tunnel
Yeah,
systems
right.
and they get around and they know their ways around. So they knew all the secrets, and you don't go into their territory unless you are prepared, I guess. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty.
we know the tunnels way better than obviously the clones did. They didn't know what was even happening. They just
Yeah.
got overwhelmed.
And then it ended with Maul, and he looked so cool but bad at the same time. He just you're like, this is gonna be crazy. And
Yeah.
the shot that they show on Disney Plus on the headline is a shot of Ahsoka fighting Maul with his double-bladed lightsaber. I think it's a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah, that must be the next episode or something.
That's what I said. I'm like, they didn't show it in this one. Spoilers, but that's gonna happen, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna see this happen.
And has Ahsoka ever battled one-on-one against Maul?
In Rebels.
In Rebel, but that's what I'm saying. But not Clone Wars.
I don't know if she ever did. I can't remember, to be honest. I have to go back and watch. I think she has, but I can't remember, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly just Obi-Wan who fought him.
That's what I thought. And Obi-Wan almost always got the best of Maul. But they had some good battles. But
well, I mean, Obi-Wan definitely. I mean, Maul definitely hit him where it counts, though.
Yes, unfortunately. But then
they're few.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and the line too. That reminds me of the line. Sorry, real fast. That Obi-Wan says to Ahsoka whenever they're leaving. He says, "I've killed Maul once before, but once before."
Yeah, right.
And he says something right after that. He said, "That was such a genius line." He's like, "Make sure," or he's like, "He's hard to kill," or something. He's like, "Make sure he's dead," or I forget.
He says,
I forget.
Maybe capture him. He doesn't seem to stay dead for long.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it was.
Something like that. I've killed him once before. Maybe capture him this time. He doesn't seem to stay dead for long. Something to that effect.
Yes. That's genius.
Yeah.
I love that. Sorry, that just made me remember.
It's true. And then Zach
There's so many lines.
Yeah, he said Clone Wars does a good job making the timeline fit together so well. How everyone references past events. I think that's why they fly now scene felt so weird. Yeah, like he was talking about. I agree. And Sam Witwer makes Darth Maul sound so cool. Yeah, he's got him nailed. He's got him figured out.
And they play the same music. Again, back to Kevin Kiner. They play the same music that Maul originally walks out to.
I didn't
introduce Maul.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I caught that in that. I didn't notice it either. It caught
Oh.
that in that the Easter egg video.
And
which is genius.
Easter egg, Caleb Doom is in this.
Yeah. Yes.
That's huge. I'm going to have to watch it again just to see that.
Yeah, me too. I missed it the first time. I was like, they look familiar. And then I was like, oh yeah, Kanan.
Yeah.
You know, his name originally is Caleb Doom, and then he changes his name to Kanan Jarrus, which is so cool. It just plays into Rebels so well. Again, they tie in Rebels almost more in this one in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Beautiful.
Darth Maul is gonna be crazy. Sam Witwer's gonna be he's awesome as Maul.
Fantastic.
And these next 4 are gonna be intense. I mean, or next 3, I guess it is. Gonna be crazy. And
I can't wait.
Cannot wait. And yeah, if you get a chance, go check out some of these Easter egg videos because they're any of those. It's all worth it. I mean, it just proves again the thought that Filoni puts into this stuff, and it pays off if you're a Clone Wars fan, if you're a Star Wars fan at all. If you've seen any of the prequels, if you've seen any of the, any of the other animated Clone Wars stuff or Rebels, it all pays off. Even Episode 9. If you saw The Rise of Skywalker, there's a kind of a callback. Return of the Jedi music, it's just all there. So that's why it's premium content delivered right to our whatever streaming device through Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brilliant. Streaming right to Dustin's new living room.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wish we could stream it and all watch it together without getting sued. But we'll do it someday. Maybe we can do a watch along or something. Maybe we can do a watch along with Nick when Nick gets back on the ranch on the map. So, but yeah, Zach said, yeah, Kanan with his master was cool to see. Totally, man. Yeah, brilliant.
Lava.
Well, any other questions? Any other thoughts, Dustin? Zach? Anybody else out there? I think we're gonna wrap up this episode, and unless you have something else, Dustin.
I'll just end with that was a fantastic episode. I can't wait to see what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Let us know out there in the comments what you guys thought about the episode, even if you're watching this in the future or in the past.
Whatever it is.
Prequel. Yeah, thanks for joining and watching and hanging out with us. It's been fun.
100%. Rating for the episode real quick.
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10, 100%.
10 out of 10.
They did not miss a mark on this one at all.
All right, I agree. It's 10 out of 10. It is brilliantly 10 out of 10. And yeah, I imagine the next ones are as well. So with that, we miss Nick, having Nick here. I want to show a quick snippet, and we're going to do something special because it's a special day for Nick tomorrow, and he's going to be back next week. So check this out if this plays good. This is in honor of Nicholas.
All right.
And that was the news video for Nick. So Nick dancing around, punching at flames and such. Tomorrow is Nick's birthday. So we wanted to wish him a special happy day. Special happy.
Special happy.
A special happy day since we probably won't be with him in person due to quarantine, lockdown restrictions, and such forths. Maybe we'll mail him a piece of cake with the word happy birthday.
Yeah.
We'll get an envelope and we'll mail it to him.
Yes.
Mash it all in there. 3 stamps.
Yeah.
It'd probably take 3 stamps. But anyway, we wish you a happy birthday, Nick. Do you want to sing to him, Dustin? Do you want to sing or you want to wait?
We'll wait. We'll wait till he's here
All
and
right.
then we'll sing.
All right.
Maybe we'll create a new song for him.
Yeah. But if you guys or girls see Nick out there, wish him a happy birthday or get online and wish him a happy stay on target birthday. We're always grateful for his comedy and his humor and his professional touch that he brings with his haircuts.
Oh, yeah. Nick's always great. We've definitely missed him these past couple of weeks. We've been trying to get him on. It's just been challenging schedule-wise and with everything going on quarantine-wise and everything. And living on Hoth makes it definitely difficult.
Definitely
But
difficult.
we'll get him back on the show, and you will see him again soon. And happy birthday, Nick.
For sure. And Zach said, "Happy birthday, person I don't know."
You will know him.
You will know him soon, and Nick will know you too, Zach. So it's all good.
Oh,
It's a small world. It's a small world after all.
Oh yeah.
Disney owns everything.
You own everything.
All right. Well, thanks again for checking us out. If you want to send us an email, stayontarget.contact@gmail.com. And we'll check that out. And otherwise, check us out on Instagram or Facebook, Hawk Studio, and Stay on Target. We're thankful for you tuning in with us tonight and or day or wherever it is, whenever you're watching this. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Like, comment, and subscribe and share to your friends. We'd love to have more conversations with more Star Wars fans. That's the awesome thing about Star Wars.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And check out this episode if you haven't already. And yeah, let us know what you thought. Give us a comment in the video comments there. And yeah, we'll be excited to watch the next one next week and talk about it some more, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
So
we will see you next week.
See you next week, people. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Let's see if I can cue up some tunes here. And all right, the music's going. So thanks again for watching. You stay healthy, stay happy, stay on target. Oh, I screwed that one up.
Oh, you got it right.
That's pretty close.
Right.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, you had that outro line. What was it?
Stay healthy, stay safe, stay on target. Just
yes,
do it.
Perfect. That's perfect.
That's it.
All right. Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Loosen up.
Loosen up. Oh, they came from behind. See you later. Bye now.
Bye.